So my name's Steven. This is a game that we created called Push Your Luck, where you have to roll a die in order to move a bomb towards your opponent's base. You can keep on rolling a die several times and adding on to your score, and you want to get a score as close to 20 as possible, but not over 20. If you get over 20, you lose your turn. The probability of being able to move your bomb forward is given in percentage, is given by 5 times your score. And if you have a score between 1 and 10, the probability of not moving is going to be 45. The probability that you can move backwards is going to be given by 5 times 11 minus your score. So the higher you go, the less likely you are to move backwards. If you get a score 11 or over, you don't have to risk moving backwards, it's going to be 0. And then the probability of not moving is just going to be the complement of probability of moving forward.
So here is the project proposal, and it outlines the structure and the rules of the game. There's a lot of information here, and it explains how to play. Down here, there's a table showing all of the possible outcomes of moving forward, not moving, and possible moving backwards, as well as some instructions on how to run the game. Over here is the initial prototype that I made, where it all just works with basic text and prompts you to decide whether or not you want to go again. So here I'll demonstrate it. So it says, enter 1 to roll die, enter 0 to forfeit, and says that it's red's turn. So if I enter, I get 10, so I can go again. And I got 21, so I lost my turn, and now it would be blue's turn. So again, it says enter 1 to roll die or 0 to forfeit. So it's 2, add again, 13. If I go again, then 21, blue lost. So red goes again, 2, 6. And if I decide to end it there at 13, I can hit 0. And so I had about a 13 out of 20 chance to move forward, and I did not succeed. So now it's blue's turn again. And again, failed to move. 18. So looks like red moved forward 1 space, and so now the total is 5, and the default total is 4. So when the total gets to either 1 or 8, that means that either blue team or red team won. And so each time you move forward, whether it's blue team or red team, it's going to change that value by plus or minus 1.
All right, my name is Ian Armstrong, and for my portion of the code, I was in charge of forming the GUIs and the general coding behind them. So here you can see the general app working. You can see there's roll dice, enter, and forfeit buttons, as well as avatars to display whose team you're on, in a sense. And then the green box right here is showing whose turn it is currently, as well as the dice, the board with the bomb that moves, as well as the table that displays score as the game goes on. So as you see, when I click roll dice, it rolls and the sound plays, and that the total current score adds up right here. Very consequential dice roll. By clicking on turn, you can see the chance to move happens. And here you can see the bomb moved down by 1. If you roll over 20, then it immediately goes to the next person's turn. You keep rolling, and the bomb will move, and eventually somebody will win if it makes 2 on the castles. There's also the forfeit button. When pressed, the other team will immediately win, and it'll reset the game. For the code portion, I made the check roll function, just checks if the total current score is over 20. I made the check win function, which if the bomb is at either side of the board, then it'll it'll display text showing who won, it'll reset the values, it will reset the table, and then it'll reset the bomb image. I also made the Find Images app, which just a list of PNGs for the dice, and then the Read Sound function, which gets the data from the 3 sound files that are played when the dice is rolled. I was also in charge of making the roll dice button. So here you can see when you push the button, it rolls a random number from 1 to 12. When this number is rolled, this sound will be played that's randomized out of 3, as well as it will change the image based on the number that was rolled. Depending on whose turn it is, it will either add the current score to the blue side. It'll check if the roll is over 20. And if the roll isn't over 20, it'll display text to re-roll and update the table. If the roll does go over 20, it will end your turn. It will reset some values, and it'll display text that is a bit aggravating. The same as for the red side. I also made the end turn button, which when pressed will determine whether or not your bomb should move, as seen from this function call. And depending on the player, it will add to the table, reset their current score. It might possibly move the ball. Here you can see, same as for the red side. And depending on whose turn it is, it will display text that shows whose turn ends, whose turn begins, and whether or not they moved. Here it just moves the bomb and whatnot. The forfeit button simply just changes the bomb value to either be on the top of the board or the bottom, depending on whose turn it is. And that's it. That's my portion of the code.
Hello, I'm Thomas Hall, and I was in charge of the ThinkSpeak portion of this project. And to start off, what I did was I assigned the properties for ThinkSpeak. So I assigned the channel ID, the write ID, the write key, the read delay, and the write delay. And honestly, one of the main problems that our group had at the end of this project was we could not get the overall ThinkSpeak to communicate with our program. And so what I try to do is I try to define different functions for ThinkSpeak so that I could speak, so I could write our code into ThinkSpeak, but we could never actually get our functions or our code to be able to be written into ThinkSpeak, was our main problem. And so one of the methods we used was we created callbacks for different things. So we created callbacks for the current score button. We created callbacks for the table button, and we try to like ThinkSpeak write them into we try to use ThinkSpeak write to move our code into ThinkSpeak, but the problem is we couldn't get it to communicate. And so I tried like labeling the startup function. I tried doing like different app channel IDs, write key, read delay. I tried using 15-second delay, but that was also a problem that we couldn't fix. And I tried putting the ThinkSpeak read in different parts of the code. Like I tried putting it after the turns so that I could communicate when the turn was done. And I tried putting it like at the end of the startup function. And we even tried to hard code the ThinkSpeak to be able to write into ThinkSpeak about like our different channel ID, but overall we just couldn't like get any results from the ThinkSpeak page. Like it wouldn't really read any of our code that we were sending. And I also tried using the table, like I said, in the cell section of the table. And then I added this rules button to our code that would basically just explain the rules of the game when it's pressed, which I can show you real quick. Rules. And pop up with this rules message box that you basically can just close after you read. And that was about all for our project. Hope you enjoyed.